let's start with some introductions, and as people come in, we'll just have them introduce themselves. I'll go into some background, but Lloyd Banks, I run a company called Banks and Company. We're a public affairs firm. If everyone can just state who you are, who you're affiliated with, and then we'll keep it going to the other items on the agenda. I'll start with my other chairperson, fellow chairperson, Akindele.
Hey everybody, what's up? Akindele Akinyemi here, President CEO, Global African Business Association. Just here, it's mostly for those who don't know me, lifelong educator, Nigerian American. Also, I was listening to Eric. Just real quick, I was listening to Eric talk about police brutality here in the U.S. We got a situation going on in Nigeria right now that has absolutely spiraled out of control, to the point of where the military gunned down 80 people last night in the dark. They turned the electricity off, turned the security cameras off, and gunned down 80 people down there in Lekki toll gate. So we bringing a lot of awareness about that. Police brutality is a global issue with Black people, especially with Black men. That this is why we're here today, guys, to have a conversation, not just about that, but really talk about the importance of voting and why our power as men mean everything, not just to the U.S. landscape, to the global landscape as well. So I'm glad to see you guys here tonight.
Thank you, Akindele. Bill Luce.
Yeah, hi, I'm Bill Luce, immediate past president of the 100 Black Men of Greater Detroit. And we were, of course, the organization that sponsored the Made Men event here in Detroit back a while, with Lloyd and Kai's help. And I'm retired after 36 years with IBM. And as Lloyd says, I'm just kind of active in the community. Just got off of the Boy Scout board about a couple of months ago. I was on the board of a FQAC, Federally Qualified Healthcare Association called Vantage Healthcare. I did that for a while, just trying to make a difference.
Good deal. Thank you, Bill, for joining us. Eric Thomas.
Hey there. I am Eric Thomas, Chief Storyteller for the city, founder of Saga, marketing, internet shit talker, and guy who likes to argue with Akindele. That's it. That's all I got. I'm sure something else will pop up.
Thanks, Eric. Twan Murphy.
Greetings, everybody. Twan Murphy. I actually run a company called Critical Connection Group, where we do consulting work, educational work, basically under the auspice of helping connect people to key resources that they're missing, fill those gaps. Currently, through that consulting, I'm actually wearing a hat from the National Office of the NAACP deployed down to Michigan to coordinate and organize the entire state for this 2020 civic engagement. And sometimes I'm a closet comedian, only when Eric's in the car. Eric Foster's in the car. I haven't rode in the car yet with E.T. But since he's a chief storyteller, I have to get in there, so maybe I can get it on wax.
Hey, man, we in these streets. Well,
right.
Well, no,
Thanks,
I'm not in these public streets. I'm at the crib. But
Mike Randall.
Good evening, gentlemen. Michael Randall. I currently work for the American Heart Association as Community Impact Director. I spent the majority of my career working in public health. So, Bill, I've definitely worked with several FQHCs like Advantage and the Wellness Plan and whatnot. So there's a connection there. In my off time, I'm a professional videographer, and and when I'm lucky, I can make some money off of it. So that's when I was connected with Lloyd Banks, and Barlow was able to do some work for him. But I'm so glad to be on this conversation. Of course, in my respect, I look at the murder of African American males as a public health crisis. It definitely covers a lot of the social determinants in terms of the life expectancy of Black men. within the city of Detroit, and now being a resident of the city and having a son that's 2 years old, I'm really happy to be a part of this conversation with some enlightened brothers, and hopefully I can contribute as much as I possibly can. So thanks, Lloyd, for the invitation.
Thanks, Mike. Eric Foster.
Hey everybody, Eric Foster. I'm glad to be a part of this. With Banks & Company. I'm our group director of strategy and business development. A father, 2 wonderful sons, one deceased, one still alive with us. A Omicron, Mu Omicron Beta, Fraternity Incorporated, Black and Silver, to the day that I die. I have to get that in. All this other, Panhellenic 9 stuff. There's others of us out here. And definitely into all aspects of the data, the policy, and the human dynamic of what we're dealing with, and come at it also from a perspective of how do we connect with the other communities that are going through and dealing with the same sorts of systematic racism, brutality, extrajudicial murder, and strife here in this country, and what's happening in Nigeria, which is frustrating because that's brother on brother. That's black on black. It's like, come on. It's bad enough that we're catching it in the US and in Europe and in other places, but at home, come on, guys. So we have a lot of work to do. And as long as God allows me to be here, I'm here to try to help do the work.
Thank you, Eric. Dewan,
Yes, sir.
please introduce yourself, sir.
I am Dewan Hightower. And what else you want me to say about myself?
Just give us some background on who you are.
Yeah, I'm Dewan Hightower. I preach here and there. I'm working at the polls this year. First time working at the polls, not the first time, but actually working at the polls this year in Wayne. I love to get involved in my community to help one another. We are where I'm at now. It seems like every black person always dying in Inkster, and it's getting to a point where you're just getting frustrated because you don't know what's going to happen. Especially the first thing is getting on my nerves is when the police say, "Don't let us handle it," and then next thing you know, you're looking on Facebook, somebody else dying because the police don't want to take care of it. They come after the fact. So, and it's getting to be real frustrating, especially when black men, you have a gathering in your home and black men come up with masks and shoot at people and don't nobody want to speak up.
Right.
That is really frustrating, because the first thing you say is, I can't say nothing. But if you don't say nothing, if you don't want to say nothing, but then don't speak about it when something really happened.
And thank you for that, Dewan. And tell the connection that you have with Akindele.
Oh, well, I was working with him for like 3 semesters now.
Yeah.
And now, since the COVID, it's kind of hard, but we both keep in contact with each other.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. Dr. Hudson.
Well, good evening, brothers. Truman Hudson Jr., native Detroiter, community builder, father, lover of my people. Like Eric, I rock a lot of colors and a lot of hats. The hat that I'll put on today is, I guess, Wayne State University. Over at Wayne, I'm responsible for doing research around Black men and cancer. Also engaged in doing work and engaging other underrepresented communities in the College of Education. So my goal is really just to push our people to the next level and do the research and practice to show that we are a powerful group of people and that we can make a change. Good to see you, Eric. Haven't seen you in 100 years, brother. Eric Thomas.
Sir?
Thank you, Truman. So I'm gonna set the stage and do a quick level set and then turn it over to a Kendall. Kendall is much better than me at talking about the issue itself.
Point of privilege to the chair.
Yes, Twan.
If we all had to come off of video, come on to video, and the great Kai has brought us all together, pulled us together again. I know she can soften up this call and at least say hello to us.
I definitely miss all of you. Oh my God, it's so good to see everyone's face. I'm trying to text everyone and say hi. I wasn't trying to interrupt this all-male gathering because I understand you all need to talk to each other. But we thank y'all so much. You certainly are made men. I miss you all. I'm so grateful to see you. I'll be in the next meeting, but this one's all about you. We need your activism. We got a lot to do in a little time. Thank my chairs. Thank you all. I miss y'all all so much. Y'all be hearing from me via text all week. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Twan. Twan is always making sure things are done in order. And it's Dr. Kai Deli. I don't know if you all know that. She is Dr. Kai Deli now.
Oh, didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doctor.
So Made Man came to Detroit now, gosh, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. And I got introduced to Kai Deli, and what was so powerful about Made Man, and Bill will attest, is that it gave a voice, a positive voice, to African American men. And now, and she recognized and honored us in a way that was amazing across the country in different cities. And so when she asked me to be a part of it, I thought it was, I had been to the other cities. It was just a no-brainer because of the work that they were able to do. And their stats to demonstrate not only did she recognize these men, she also made sure that they donated suits to other young men, that they mentored other young men at schools. It was just an amazing platform. And now Kai Deli and the Made Man Foundation is back. And what they want to do is a 100-day call to action and cover several different issues in 100 days. So this is like four to five meetings where we're going to talk about issues that are relevant to Black men. And so the issue that we're going to discuss today is around voter education and voter registration. I am just blessed to be able to say I called some of you today and you joined, and I'm just thankful. And we have some other men that are going to join. It's about 15 or 16 of us, and there are some call to action things that we need to do. If I can do one housekeeping, and then I'm going to turn it over to Akindele for the last half an hour for us just to have a great dialogue. If you guys can repeat after me, this is a tagline that's important to Kai and to the Made Man Foundation, and this is being recorded because they're going to use this footage around the country and in the Detroit market. And so I just want to make sure we say this because it's a great theme. If everyone can repeat after me, I am a made man.
I am a
made man.
Amen.
Involved in my community.
Involved in
my
community.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Okay, thank you, brothers. Akindele, I'll turn it over and we'll have our discussion about voter education and registration.
All right, thank you very much, Lloyd Banks. And once again, greetings, brothers, for this very important discussion. We're down less than 2 weeks to the general election, which will take place November the 3rd. And right now, across the United States of America, people are voting. I think the last number I saw was close to about 35 million people have already voted, whether that's by absentee ballot or walking into your local clerk's office and casting your ballot. But, one of the things, we still have this this dilemma within our community. I'm talking about Black men, this dilemma. There was a couple of polls that was taken. I think Eric Foster, you can probably back me up with what I'm about to say. A couple of polls that were taken recently, and one of the polls that caught my personal attention was the number of undecided black men. I'm talking about right here in the state of Michigan. We're not even talking about Georgia or Alabama or Florida. The number of black men who are undecided in terms of voting. And then when they ask the questions in terms of why they're not voting, they simply don't really know the issues. Know the issues or know what's going on, or they think it's a lesser of two evils and things like that. The most important thing about voter education is to empower our community as one. It's very important in this day and age where you have all the chaos that has been going on the past 4 years. And some of you guys I follow on Facebook and social media and kind of chime in on your, I don't chime in too much, but read your comments. And they're very good, powerful comments. But I think the most important aspect of voter education is empowerment. And I think we still don't have that down pack, even in a critical election 2 weeks away that's going to determine the future of this nation. So I just want to start off. I'm going to start off with my homeboy from Eastern Michigan, Eric Foster. I'm going to start with you first, my friend. Why voter education within our community? You've been in this game a very long time, and I just want to know from the horse's mouth, why is it important for us as black men to understand the issues as it pertains to voter education?
Well, thank you, Kendall, and you're right on point. So the first thing is, and it starts with the data set. The adult population in our community, 32,289,222. The citizen population, 29,859,672. The registered population, 21,157,601. And our voting average, the past few election cycles, we have in 18, we were 15.2 million. In 2016, we were 16.4 million. In 2012, we were 17.8 million. Now, the 2018 was a 5 million vote increase over the midterm in 2014. Now, why I'm starting with that, just first with the African-American community, is we have gaps in the number of those of us who are registered versus those of us who are citizens and eligible to vote. And then when it comes to turnout, black men lag 20 points behind black women in terms of turnout. Out of all of the other ethnicity groups, there is always, with the exception of the Arabic community, which is roughly running 51-49 male-female, every other group, women are the majority voter. Statistically, there's just more women than men, so that makes sense. But we have the widest gap consistently on a national level, less than 40% normally. Normally we're at 39%, while our sisters are at 61%. So they're carrying the weight. But then the other framework is the selection. So whereas our sisters, making an informed choice, pick candidates who do have a desire to engage us, to respect us, and to value us as Americans, some of us in our community tend to leak over. And that's something, unfortunately, that's consistent with men of color, where in our community, we're averaging roughly 13-14% of men of color, of African-American men who are voting Republican, and in the 2016 election, voted for the person in the White House right now. And then even in 2018, where we shifted back a lot of things nationally because of our turnout, still in our community, 11% of black men versus only 3% of black women. And so to the point of voter education, it's participation so that we get our numbers up, but then it's making the right selection of who's going to respect us and value us, and who can we talk to get policies that impact our community and change the systemic racism that we're dealing with.
All right. Very good. So I guess the next question I have is I want to swing this question to Mr. Michael Rando, because he said he has a young son, and I always tell people, children, our children, they're our future. So Michael Rando, why is it important for us to vote as Black men to demonstrate to your child the importance of that to set your child's future?
You have to be involved. You have to be involved civically, and I think that more importantly than voting in the general elections or even the midterms is voting locally and knowing who your local candidates are. I was actually able, when I lived in Ypsilanti, I was born and raised in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I was actually able to be involved locally. I sat on the Ypsilanti Planning Commission. I also sat on the Ypsilanti Library Board of Trustees. And those two positions probably impacted the residents of Ypsilanti day to day more than any president, in terms of just how they would live their lives. And so if you know anything about planning commissions, if you look outside and you see cones on your street, like I have outside, they're doing construction work. A lot of that was voted on by a local planning commission or local road commission. And if you follow, the voting process, and if you follow, who's up for what type of position, a lot of those positions are elected locally. So I just think that, just back to Eric's point, it really starts with education and understanding what votes mean. I'm very sad to see a generation of young Black men and young people in general that are completely indifferent to the process. And I think that this narrative of the lesser of the evil, right? And I'm just not going to participate at all. I just think that narrative is extremely damaging, because it whitewashes the issue, and oftentimes they're looking at the general election or even the midterm elections, but they're not realizing that within these elections that they're voting on local ballots as well that impact their lives and the lives of their families far more than any president. So it's very important that we educate the next generation, including my son, including all of our children, the importance of voting up and down the ballot and understanding these positions on a local level and how they impact our lives.
All right. We have something in common, Michael. You said you was on the Library Board of Trustees for Ypsilanti. I was the former president of the Leanna Hicks Library Board in Inkster as well.
Good.
We just recently built our new library, and Dewan is a living witness to that.
Awesome.
Right there in the city of Inkster. Also, I was on the Downtown Development Authority as their chair in the Economic Development Corporation in the city of Inkster. So we do have some things in common, and you're 100% correct. One of the things I just want to just say this real quick before I ask my next question. One of the things of civic engagement is not always you have to be elected. And I'm teaching other communities about this right now. You don't have to run for U.S. Senate to make a difference. You can be on that planning commission, that library board. You could be on the school board. You could be on the DDA. You could be in the TIFA board. So those are very important boards. That's where really policy really starts before you even reach city council or any other higher board. So I just take my hat off to you. I don't have any hair, so please forgive me. But that's very powerful. This question is for Eric Thomas. I don't know, Eric, I'm gonna ask you this question. My question is to you, my friend. How come how do you feel that traditionally young people don't vote at higher rates, but this is a different type of election? From my perspective, this is a different type of election. Do you think young people are going to turn out to vote in 2 weeks?
Maybe.
Okay.
I think that we are experiencing a self-fulfilling prophecy. We say that young people don't vote, so we don't cater to young people. And young people, in turn, don't respond to it because people don't show up until the very last minute like, hey, young people should vote. And it's really discouraging from young people. We had our candidates. We asked for young people, right? Funny enough, our candidate was like the oldest guy, right? We liked Bernie. We liked Elizabeth. We liked the Green New Deal. We like opportunities to update things. We want to change things. People keep telling us what cannot change. Nothing is working. Everything's on fire. And yet again, they say we just need some incremental change. Instead of getting the clear out and out racist, we want the clear architect of the crime bill that was out and out racist. And then they say to us, how come you guys aren't turning up? And how come you aren't invigorated by the choices that we forced you to have based upon the systemic nature of the leadership that we have in place? Because we watched them systemically dismantle Bernie Sanders' campaign twice. And then we watched them systemically dismantle any opportunity for anybody like Elizabeth Warren. And we watched them currently sabotage Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who leads most of the stories and all the narratives that we want and all of the political pressure that we're trying to apply. And then we watched Joe Biden get up against a debate against Donald Trump and discredit the Green New Deal and the progressives and the progressive movements and everything we've asked him to do so he could look a little bit more conservative for people who are not going to fucking vote for him. So you've done all this work to appeal to people who do not like you while actively discrediting the people that are saying, hey, could you please throw us a bone so we can at least not feel dirty as we do it? And then you go back out here and you say, I don't think young people care. No, look at the internet. We care. People in the streets, that was us. People out here marching for George Floyd, that's us. Breonna Taylor, you know why Breonna Taylor came back in the news? Us. We pushed all of theirs, and not even us. Gen Z. March for Our Lives, all those kids, these are 17, 18-year-olds out here in these streets and on the internet with more followers than NRA. The reason why the NRA got dismantled is because of 19-year-olds. Not because of 65-year-olds who've been telling us what they can't do with the establishment, because 19-year-olds said, you know what, bro? Fuck that. I'm going on the news. I'm tired of people getting shot. We got something to say. And even still, with all of that, people still go to the news and say, well, you know, young people don't vote. They don't care. They're dispassionate. What's all this music about then? What's all this art about? What's all this protesting about? And so what I think our real problem is that we respect youthful bodies. We don't respect youthful voices. We are happy that they said it. We want them to take their souls to the polls to vote for who we told them to. And I think that young people historically have never responded to that. They didn't respond to it in the 60s, right? They didn't respond to it in any revolution. They didn't respond to it in the Egyptian Spring. They're not responding to it in Nigeria, right? Like, people are literally shooting people in Nigeria and they still out here in these streets, right? And that is always a movement where young people put their bodies on the line just to be told that they don't have the experience to lead. And that, I think, is why you see such apathy. Hopefully they do vote. I mean, Joe Biden is not Donald Trump. The problem with Donald Trump is that he is dangerous. This is what he's doing when he has something to lose. Imagine when he doesn't. He can't run again. This is him with a tether. Imagine him off tether,
right?
As Sada Baby would say. Now, we have an option to get somebody we could at least try to hold accountable, somebody who at least bends to a little social pressure. Donald Trump would punch you in the mouth on camera and keep it moving. At least we could build a coalition that would pressure Joe Biden to do things that we see as part of progressive causes. That's where I'm at on it. But I hope young people show up, but if they don't show up, I don't blame them. That's where I'm at.
All right.
On that?
Yes, please.
So just looking at the data from Target Smart and looking at Latino American, African American, Native American, Asian American, and even within white college educated, the participation, the voting rate so far for young people is up significantly over 2016 and even up over 2018 at this point. in terms of their share of the turnout. So those are positive trends. I'm with you, Eric. You know, I'm more on the moderate, well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a conservative Dem. I do like a lot of the things that ALC pushes, and Rashida's a friend, so I'm down with the squad. But I do also have a pragmatic side that says we kind of have to, it's got to be both an inside-outside game. This is basically where we've got Kareem and Magic, or where we have Isaiah and Buddha. You know, it's to get us to that point. We're going to get there, but we've got to have that inside outside. And sometimes on the inside, you may have to talk a certain way that doesn't make it seem like the outside thinks that you're feeling what they're doing, but you really are, but it's because you're playing the inside game. At least that's right. What I look at it and approach it.
This is why I gave up on being pragmatic. And I'll tell you. Part one, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. We've been tiptoeing around people like Barack Obama tiptoed around the sitting in Congress like a mug. Donald Trump came here and kicked people dead smack in their chest and got everything he wanted. That's part one. Part two, I'm impatient, dog. We gave America the best two black people we could find. We gave them Martin Luther King and Barack Obama, and they shot the first one. Right, like it wasn't even like a lightweight. They didn't reject Martin Luther King. They murdered Martin Luther King. Then they put a conspiracy theory around Barack Obama and was like, I don't know what to tell y'all. At this point, we are in a place where we are being civil with lions. We've been having incremental change in America for 400 years, and we finally just made it to overt police brutality. Congratulations. We did.
Right.
Congrats. Now we can only be murdered in the streets with no consequences while you're sleeping in your bed. We get a little bit more incremental change, maybe we'll have to be fucking awake. You know, and so I have just gotten to the place where I'm tired, and I'm not tired for me, I'm tired for my grandparents. You know, it's like Jesus Christ. I haven't been here that long. But some of the folks, like I might be the youngest person on this call, right? Some of the folks, you guys have been fighting for a long time. And we marching for the same stuff y'all was marching for. It ain't even like different. It ain't even like slightly evolved. Just the same march.
So Eric, can I respond and just ask a quick question real quick? So why can't the solution be, because you made a great point by saying, you know, of course, we understand that Trump is Trump, right? Sure. So why isn't the solution for Biden to apply pressure to the administration? Because that seems more like a plan. That seems like more like a plan rather than just accept the apathy and just say, as leaders in the community, I understand if they just don't vote or they're apathetic. Why not say, you know what, go vote and take all, and keep the same energy and apply pressure to the Biden. If a Biden administration wins, he's up by 10 points, but we've been here before. If we see a Biden administration, why couldn't the strategy just be go vote, but keep that same energy and apply pressure?
I think that is the strategy.
Can I answer? I want to jump in on this. I'm a Colemanite. Grew up in the Coleman Young era. And also I had an opportunity to learn politics from our former city clerk in Detroit, Jackie Curry. At the age of 12, I worked on her campaign when she was a Wayne County commissioner. When she moved from commission, I worked with her as she moved into the ranks of the city clerk. She taught me coalition building at the age of 12. From that, and to build on what Eric stated in regards to coalition building. From that coalition building, that led me to doing things, some of the things I don't even talk about, but I just realized I sat on the Recreation Commission under the Bing administration, and I got at the table because a door was open because of a friend who worked for the administration saw value add of having me at the table. Going back to your question, Mike, and as well as the emphasis that you've been putting forth, Eric, a part of the challenge goes back to something that I think Brother Jesse Jackson and some of the young leaders did back in the 70s when they were upset with the Democratic Party. They attempted to start a new party. They met in Indiana, and they came together and said Black people in Chicago weren't getting what they need. We need to start up a new process, and we need to move forward with some new things. And Mayor Daley at the time in Chicago called a press conference, and the press conference lasted 60 seconds. And he told everybody, thank you for coming. And if there are Black people in the city of Chicago who are not getting what they want, it's because they didn't vote. He ended the conference, dropped the mic, and moved on. Now, the reason why people aren't voting, they are voting because they're voting with apathy. So even if you don't show up to the poll, you're showing your vote. Going back to what Eric said in regards to they're showing that young people are showing where they're coming from by being active around these different movements. They're being active, but I believe that we've done them a disservice because we've been in a melee for the past 40 plus years, and we've not provided the direction and the leadership and the pipeline to continue the growth of young, intelligent Black political leaders. So the sisters, I got to give them credit for what they've done. They've not stopped. You have the Bina Elliots, you have the Donna Murray Browns, and the list goes on locally with the sisters who are in power positions, who not only are in those positions, but they open the doors for other sisters and other people. And they're silent leaders that are just standing at the table and making it happen. And I know Bill Luce came up at a time when there were the Tyrone Davenports, the Walt Watkins, and those brothers made their way off of the civil rights movement of '65, and a lot of them got into corporate America, and they opened up doors. But somehow we became lethargic, us as a culture, and we did not continue that walk. And I think that we need to get back to lifting up the voices of the Eric Thomases and the Mike Randalls, and really putting them in position and saying that, okay, you're going to be my Coleman, and you're going to be in this position for the next 20 years, and we need to step back and let them lead and move off of our concerns, because their concerns are our concerns, and they just have a different way of doing the thing.
Right.
And I think that changes the conversation, like what Twan rocking the conversation of rocking the vote. Rocking the vote is also connecting with these young people in PK-12 and starting to prime them early. Because when we had the Congressman George Crockett, he had the George Crockett Youth Caucus, and he was working with young people in the 13th Congressional District off of Woodward and Philadelphia early, and building up their intellectual capacity as well as the political capacity on understanding how to change the city. And I think in politics. So I think we have a pathway in which we can get people to move forward through, as Eric stated, all of the Greek letter organizations, not just the Panhellenic organizations, and those who are not a part of the Panhell, to actually level up, engage, and empower them to move the vote forward. And whatever that vote is, we agree to disagree and disagree that
Right.
young people are leading.
I just feel
Kindle,
like
we got 5 minutes to get at least the 4 we haven't heard from, and then we got to talk about the call to action.
Okay, so we're gonna do this real quick. I just want to ask. I want to start with Mayo. He came in a little late. Mayo, I'm not gonna tell everybody who you are, because this is your area. I mean, voter education is your area of expertise. Just real briefly, you can explain who you are and and how you feel about this discussion we're having.
Well, yeah, good evening, everyone. Calling from Columbus, Ohio. This is where I'm at most of the time originally. I think I've met half of the people on this call tonight, and I'm just being around Detroit, or being around CBC, which is the last time I saw Eric at the Michigan party at the CBC last year. But definitely, I'm first on one hat, I'm the chair for voter registration education mobilization for Omega Psi Phi 4th District, and I do that. I see the brothers in the room, with that being said, I also just ran in this primary in Ohio. I was state representative in 25th House District on the Democratic Party. I'm a central committee for the party, member for the party, elected this year and re-elected this year. Everything that Eric Thomas has said is 100% true. I mean, I came in right when he was talking. I was a Bernie surrogate and delegate in 2016. We walked out the convention in Philly, walked back in, all this stuff. I mean, it's all the same thing over and over. The key thing is, are we going to do something about what Malcolm said when he talked about the ballot and the bullet, how the Democratic Party uses us, how the Republican Party doesn't offer us anything. what are we going to do about it at some point? Our youth are tired of it, you know, and to what Michael had asked about, maybe we can try to push him. You know, we've tried this over and over and over. That's why to some people who have seen it happen over and over and over, to try to push systems that's against our community, it's hard to keep trying to do that over and over and over. Now, I'm prescribing for everybody to go vote as well, because nobody wants dummy in 45 to get back in office. However, the thing we have to look at is that, you know, before 45 got in office and said they were good people on both sides, we had our black president that was working the system. They invited a white man, they arrested a professor in front of his household, you know, and they invaded his privacy in front of his household because he was trying to work the system as the president of the United States, and he was a Democrat. So, and he's one of the best that we've had in the sense of, you know, like, you know, being able to bring integrity into the White House and all that kind of stuff. But he was trying to show them that we can do as good as we can as Democrats. But that's the problem. When they go in, like Eric Thomas said, they go do what the work that the constituents ask for. When we go in as Democrats, we go in there, we try to see if we can call a bear party, which sometimes I look at Breonna Taylor and I look at the white cop that arrested Professor Henry Louis Gates, and if he was the same guy, he can be like, well, if I arrest him in front of their house, he gotta give me a beer party. Maybe if I should kick their door down and shoot him in the bed, maybe that's not a bad thing. You know, if I get a beer party from arresting him in front of the house, why not? You know what I mean? So, you know, some part, you know, I feel like, you know, we just need to make sure we find a way to have one voice. That's number one thing. When can we start having? We can't all believe in the same thing. Well, how close can we be to having a voice so we can talk to our leaders and say we want real change and we want it now? So that's my addition to everything that's been said.
Thank you so much. Mr. Luce, your comments, please.
Yeah, no, look, the thing that sticks out in my mind, and maybe going back to what Eric said, 10,107, that number just kind of sticks out in my mind because that's the number of votes that Donald Trump won the state of Michigan by.
Yeah.
And I bet Eric Thomas got 10,107 friends he could have called up.
That's right, Eric.
I got it for you.
Right. I mean, it's not that difficult, and I think, you know, it was interesting to hear Eric Thomas talk about why perhaps young folks feel disenfranchised, and he's right. They have come to the table with ideas. They have come to the table with different things. On every occasion, we kind of said, nah, not now. And I mean, not to kind of change the subject, but I was struck by obviously three, you know, current day hip hop artists who have placed their names into the political arena to get involved. Specifically, Eric's boy Ice Cube, Diddy, and then of course the best one to me was 50 Cent. Right? Brother makes a few dollars and then goes, nah, I can't vote for him. He wants to tax my money, right? And but I mean, look, I think Cube had some interesting points. I'm not sure what Diddy was doing, but my whole thing was timing, right? And unfortunately, their message, I think, is going to be received by some young cats as saying, oh, it doesn't matter. We can just wait, right? And that's my biggest fear. I didn't disagree with what they said. It's just the timing and the effect it might have. Right. Because for me, there's only one mission that I have. Look, Joe Biden is not a saint. He's not, you know, that crime bill he passed was absolutely awful. But I have one mission, and that's to get Donald Trump out of the White House.
Absolutely.
We can deal with all this other stuff later on. We got to get that crazy so-and-so out of the White House.
Without question.
I'm gonna come quickly. I gotta come quickly to DeWine. DeWine, we're in Inkster. What do we think we need to do to engage our youth and our people in general in Inkster? You know, how we can get down in our city. What do you think we can do from your perspective? You've been out there on the polls. You've worked the polls. What do you think we should do, real briefly?
What we need to do is actually have the fathers teach our young men the ability and what responsibility is to vote and what the vote is. Because if we don't, you know, like he said before, we can go out there and march anytime we want to. We can do this, do that. But if we can't encourage our young men to put down the guns and stop, you know, and stop going against each other and come together, then we hit. It don't matter if Donald Trump, you know, is in office, and I hope he don't be back in office, that we got to stand up for each other and continue to fight and hold on, because if we don't, we'll see all our young people falling off.
Yeah. Okay, let me one other point. Since you mentioned Inkster, I just want you to know that I have been actively working in Inkster on the Get Out the Vote. My wife is part of the AKA chapter, and they've been doing a number of things with
fantastic.
Connie Mitchell.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Oh yeah, Connie Mitchell. That she was on. I was on DDA with her. So, and actually, we're in the Friends of the Leanna Hicks Library together. So, just let her know a Kindle. You met a Kindle tonight. That'd be cool. Mr. Murphy, you have the last word. What should we do in terms of getting out the vote and all this great stuff we've been talking about?
So the information on the phone, I'll start by saying yes, all of the above. So Lloyd will tell you, usually in the role that I sit in, I usually have a title where I can basically sit behind a desk, behind a computer, and coordinate and organize stuff. But what I do is just what I'm passionate about, being on the street. So when we talked about the different aspects, and everybody has put great aspects that is all part of the yes, all of that needs to be incorporated. And when I say the yes, the success that I'm able to have and the folks that are around me are able to have is because as soon as we hit the streets, the first thing we do is meet people where they are before we start pushing a message or anything. And that's what you hear from ET talking about with the young folks that talk. I mean, they've been out in groves. They've been carrying the mantle like crazy. And then, like you said, Bernie got shot in the foot twice. So then I don't see myself in there anymore. And then you get down to the reality, which we've heard on the phone too, of, hey, I hear you say that's taking place, but we got two choices right now. So if you sit down, we letting another choice just like take over. So in saying that, we have to be able to take all of these different levels. And the part that Truman talked about with Mother Curry is coalition building. So when you have this coalition building, that means that you are uniquely equipped to put people at different levels of the spectrum in place to move their populations and have a seat at that table. And over the years, that what we've seen is wrong people at the table not inclusive, and then good missions end up getting derailed because I don't see myself there. We just heard about it with the Greek. I see my Greek brother on there. It feels good. You heard Eric jump in. Hey, it's more than the divine eye. Absolutely, because at the end of the day, as he gave the stats, we are all in the gumbo, and it can taste good together. So in saying that, I think it first has to start with meeting these different levels of engagement of folks on the street who are disenfranchised, who usually stay out of the process, and meeting them where they are and understanding the why. Now, as we start to understand that why, what needs to happen is you can't build somebody and tell them to do something or to hold something up if they're not standing on a foundation. What is blaringly out there, that's the major gap in the issue, is we don't stand on any history. And what you just heard on this call from different folks was the history and the background of what we stand on. When I'm out here talking to these, they can't tell me the branches of government, nationally or locally. They can just name a couple of key positions and barely can name the names. So we got to figure out, how do we take our communities and get embedded like the Arab schools or the Jewish schools and things like that, so we can have folks on the history of things. And once you start to be able to understand history and see who you are inside of that, especially a group of people who have been scrambled eggs and really can't find their history, but they have a base, now they have something to stand on to be able to figure out the reason why I'm outside the system or don't feel like I'm part of the system is because I don't understand what the system was or where it needs to go. So I'm just out here. I'm not a bad person, but I'm just disengaged. So meeting them where they are, running it through history so they can understand what systemically has taken place amongst all folks here in the United States moving forward, then we can start to push to them on, here's the candidate and why, and these parties and that party. But until you're able to fold that in, it's really going in one ear and out the other. So even when they do the process, it's like, okay, I did the process because Mama forced Pookie to vote this time because I couldn't stay in the house if I didn't. So when we look at the numbers, we're gonna keep the metal to the pedal because we can't let up and take anything for granted. But the numbers should be based off of everything I'm seeing on the street statewide, and then on the national calls, what's happening nationwide. The young folks are gonna come out, the middle group is gonna come out, and the seniors are gonna come out. But if we want to look at data, it's not the young folks that's not voting. I got a whole block of names of people who are on the tail end of the civil rights, all the way through, 35 something, who haven't voted in 18, 16. Maybe did the first Obama and then the second one. I ain't do nothing because they said he was a sellout, so I just sat on sideline. These are folks who have an understanding. So we got to do a better job of engaging instead of telling somebody, talking at them or to them, talking with them, and then taking all of these coalitions, picking something that we can move the needle and have a win. It's just like sports. When you get that first win, then you can get that second win. Okay, we're moving to something, but our defense might still be bad. Our special teams might still be bad, but the offense is clicking. We can work on that. But the Democrats, our communities, we try to do so much, it gets watered down and people get overwhelmed, and then they don't see their agenda and they keep falling off. So, but what I will say is gonna happen, because this is a special time. This is different than any other time. You got a current person sitting in the highest seat that's just wilding out. And that's why people are, even if they don't want to, they saying, you know what, something else has to change, even though I'm not feeling this over here, because he's wild out so much. Number two, I think what's going to happen is so many people are really at the point of being sick and tired at their different levels of engagement, whether you're young, whether you're old, wherever you fit. People are at the tipping point where they're like, enough of all of this, enough of my man wilding out, enough of the Senate just saying no and not doing anything, enough of the Dems being so spineless and trying to work with these folks. So the tipping point is now going to allow for folks that if there is a Biden administration in office, we're not going to have to worry about people putting pressure on it. But then it's going to be, what is the agenda where the pressure doesn't get out of control and you can move it systemically the way it has to go through that process where you can get things done, instead of a shotgun approach where it doesn't have the long standing piece. It gets touched on and gets started, but it doesn't go anywhere. So that's kind of my 2 cents to it. I say yes, everything on this call has to happen. Not that it should happen. Everything on this call has to happen. And
all right,
this is the time.
That makes sense. Akindele, before you go, I just want this brotherhood to blame themselves for this passion and this great dialogue as to why we're past 7 o'clock. Go ahead, Akindele.
Now, just the last two, I want to squeeze in. If they could just, I know they came in late, but if I can just go ahead and introduce them, they can give 1 minute about the importance of GOTV and for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to start with Inkster City Councilman Stephen Chisholm. If Steve, you're on the ground, you're in the grind. What do we need to do in terms of GOTV, especially with our black men, for the next 2 weeks?
Good evening, everyone. I came in on behalf of Representative Joel Jones. He can't make it. I just got off a Zoom call to get on this one really quick, so sorry for my lateness. Really, it's taking it to the people, as some of us are already doing, and these particular areas where if you follow the census track compared to the voting track, you notice it's the same people that's not doing nothing, if you will. When I say not doing nothing, I mean not getting out and voting. A lot of this grassroots stuff that we're doing is working. It's ramping up the participation, because you really got to get to them and have those one-on-one conversations with them, especially our elected officials. We sometimes get up at the top, and the staff and everybody is the ones who are out here doing the groundwork, but they want to see us. They want to see who the elected officials are. They want to touch them. They want to know that you're tangible, they can communicate with you, and that you care. So we really need to express that we care, that we're taking their voice and thoughts and concerns into consideration, and then showing them how we're going to make it work when we get out here in the community and do what needs to be done.
All right. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I want to introduce Ecora City Councilman Devonte Sherrod. This guy got stuff all over Ecora. I don't know if you're the second coming of Christ, man. Every time I drive in Ecora, all your stuff is everywhere, man. What you trying to do out there? You got the last word. What do we need to do as black men to get out the vote in the next 2 weeks, brother?
Well, what I suggest is that we do phone banking and encourage people each and every day to make sure they get out and vote, because this vote is so important to the residents, and not only just to the residents, but out through this country. Because a lot of us, sometimes we don't do what we're supposed to do, but we need to be reaching out to our friends and family and to let them know to make sure they get out and vote.
All right. Thank you so much. And brothers, listen, I'm with Lloyd. You know, you have a lot of passion, a lot of fire. Really appreciate everyone being on this conference call tonight, being on this call to action. It is our responsibility to take the leadership and the mantle to move this process forward, especially for the next 2 weeks, because it is a do or is a die. And I'm not trying to die. So we have to do the work to make this possible. I'm going to turn it over to Lloyd Banks. He's going to tell you what we're going to do next. You have the floor.
So brothers, we have two calls to action that the Made Man Foundation wants us to take a look at and make happen. And so they're trying to make sure before the election, two major calls happen. And one is they're trying to demonstrate father and son legacy voting. And so it could be father and son or black man and mentee, however we want to look at it. They're trying to make sure that we have a father figure and a young person that we're talking about voting and what it means to vote, and trying to get everyone to record a video and send it in to them. And they're going to blast this. Kai Deli, Dr. Deli has celebrities and everything involved, trying to get as many videos uploaded to help with this mission of making sure folks get out and vote. And so she wants to make sure we do that. And two, getting our youth in general to talk about why they must vote. And so I'm going to, after this call, send you the one-sheeter on each. It's so simple. We upload it. We get others involved. If we could do a minimum of 10 others to get involved, if some of us took some father and son figures, if some of us took some youth, and just make sure they uploaded those videos. This is happening in 8 cities around the country, and we want to make sure Detroit does its part. Our next meeting, if you guys can give me at least 3 or 4 more meetings, because there are some other issues that we're going to address in a similar fashion. The next meeting, I figured we'll turn it, we'll try to do it before work, 8 a.m. next Wednesday on a Zoom call. We get in, we get out in an hour, and we'll rotate between the morning and the evening. But we're asking if you all, and it's more to join. There was some confusion on Central versus Eastern time. So we're clearing that confusion up. It's about 17 of us, and we want to make this happen for the city of Detroit. Any quick questions before we go? Because I want to value everyone's time.
Lloyd Banks, Twan Murphy,
Yes,
no
sir.
question, but just to lift up something. So this Saturday, October 24th, is National Early Vote Day. Across this country, folks are doing all kinds of energetic things to get folks to get out early and don't wait to that November 3rd day to stand in long lines or try to get registered and all the monotony that could happen there. I'm hosting the event from 2 to 4, and hopefully you can blast that out. Lloyd, you should have that. If not, I'll send it to you. Hopefully you can blast it out to the participants. So from 2 to 4, we will be at the Detroit NAACP branch, and it's not a Detroit branch event. It's an all state of Michigan event, and it's fun food, live DJ, folks talking about the importance of voting, election protection, all those sort of different things. And then we're going to canvass from the branch to Claremont, about 10 blocks, 1 block to Woodward, 1 block to the service drive. Just an excellent opportunity for you to come out with a son, a nephew, or something like that, and be able, in a non-contact canvassing, be able to put and show how you can impact your community as black men. And what I desperately don't want to have happen is all of the ladies show up, the youth show up. We got a whole bunch of young ladies and women from our community, and the men aren't there, being a protective presence out there, as well as standing up and being strong in the community. So that's one thing. Number 2, we talked about phone banking. I'm driving, so I didn't hear who was talking about phone banking. I also have a link that if somebody is not able to connect to phone banking, we've got it set up where you tap on this link, you sit inside of your house, your car, whatever, it comes to your phone, it comes to your computer. You can make 1 call or you can make 10. And you just keep going as you want. We're hitting these low propensity voters in our community. It's easy, it's easy, it's easy. Everybody needs to be out making some kind of call saying something. Everybody can show up from 2 to 4. It's supposed to be a nice day on Saturday. And it's a free event full of food, but we can do the canvassing out here, non-contact, and show a presence out here, and that could be something great. Thank you for letting me have that opportunity.
No problem, Twan. I'll get that out. And Mayo had an announcement as well.
Yeah, thanks so much, y'all. So I'm part of a PAC. It's called the Uplift PAC, and we are co-sponsoring an event this weekend on Sunday. David Banner was one of the prior events we had, and this one's going to be Killer Mike. So it's just a conversation series with Killer Mike about issues going on in our community. We figured that he's one of those guys that, when he speaks, people in our community will listen. So I'll send the information to you, Lloyd, so you can help forward that to everybody. Again, it's Sunday at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a